I'm Trey Pack. I go to Harriman High School in Harriman, Tennessee, where I've played football for the past 15 years. I recently became a Christian, but before I came to know Christ, I learned firsthand that sometimes it takes a tragedy for a transformation to happen.
Once and for all, the Father's love.
Growing up, I was just a normal kid. I went to school, played football, went to a little church just up the road. It was just very normal. When I was about 7 years old, I went up front and got saved. I mean, when you're little, you go to children's church, but at my church, when you turn 7 years old, you have to go to big boy church. Well, after a week of that, I was ready to get saved. I didn't want to go to hell. I went up front because I was scared, not because I understood, not because I knew God's grace, but I was scared. My parents tell me I needed to go. My preacher tell me I needed to go. It was never really my decision. I was just scared out of my mind. I stepped out into the aisle, looked at my dad and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go up." Dad said, "Okay, go do what you gotta do." I went up and spoke to the preacher. I didn't know what to say. I just said, "I want to get saved." He said, "All right, come talk to me." We knelt at the pew. He said, "Just repeat after me," and I repeated. Didn't think about what I was saying. I just said exactly what he said. Didn't think about the words. I didn't really feel any different. I know now that since I'm saved, you just feel different. I didn't feel that then, but I've been relying on that for a long time. Just my entire life. When I would sin, I just knew, I got saved when I was little. I'm fine. I had this fire insurance. All through elementary school and up until middle school, everything was fine. Never did anything too bad. I mean, I got in trouble. I did some stuff I shouldn't have done. Nothing too bad, but I mean, my last year in middle school was when all the first started happening. What I mean by first is I had my first beer the summer before 8th grade. Lost my virginity in February of 8th grade. Just when sin really started to get into my life. Football was a huge part of my life, but it really accelerated the sin that was creeping into my life. I mean, when you play football, just sinning is so much easier. And there's girls, there's sex, there's drugs, there's drinking, I was young, I was immature, but I mean, these days society, people just keep getting younger and younger and younger, doing bad stuff. And playing football, playing sports, it really accelerates the sin that creeps into my life, that creeps into every athlete's life. It's hard to say how all this sin really happens. It's hard to say how it just creeps into your life. I mean, my theory behind it is there's so many backgrounds, there's so many different kinds of people on a team that eventually you're going to come across people that came from a bad background that are just plain bad influences, and you get in with those people. Those people are cool. They're funny. You think they're nice to you, but they're helping you sin, and you don't realize it because you're having fun. You think you're having fun. I mean, you try to fill your life up with this stuff. You try to fill your life up with football. You try to fill your life up with sin, with sex, with beer, with alcohol, with anything, and you can't. You just can't fill it up. But there was one event that really caused an avalanche of sin to come into my life. One Friday, I had a devastating thing happen in my life. I mean, everything was normal. We had a half day of school. It was the first day of school. After school, I went to McDonald's and ate supper. I went to the field house, got ready to play a scrimmage, and we scrimmaged against two different teams. In the second scrimmage, I was chasing the quarterback, landed wrong, and tore up everything in my knee. I mean, everything but my ACL, which is kind of odd because that's usually what people tear. I had total knee reconstruction. I was in surgery for 8 hours. Was on crutches for a month. Couldn't drive, couldn't do anything, couldn't go to school. And you just get really depressed, and you try to, I can't play football, so what am I going to do? So you start talking to more girls, you start drinking more, you start filling your life up with this stuff that you think's going to help. You think, oh, I'll feel better. Just let me have one more beer, I'll feel better. Just let me have sex one more time, I'll feel better, and then I'll stop. But you never do. You just keep doing this bad stuff, trying to fill yourself up, and you never do. Well, I was hurt. I couldn't drive. So my friend Evan would take me home. Just every day, hey Evan, you want to take me home? Yeah, I'll take you home. Yeah, that went on for about a week. On Wednesday, he said, what are you doing tonight? Nothing, hanging out. You ought to come to church. Where do you go to church? South Emory Baptist Church. Okay. Said, I'll come get you, 6:30. Okay. Came and got me and we went. That first Wednesday was great. I mean, the youth minister preached a really good sermon. I really liked the music. I liked the atmosphere. A lot of my friends went, so I came back. And I kept coming back, and I kept coming back, and I really started to listen to what the youth minister was saying. Started coming on Sundays a little bit, but it was still mostly Wednesdays. And I knew now that I was living in sin. I started to know what I was doing was bad. I know, okay, I gotta stop this. And it started to decrease, but I was still doing the stuff. It was just a hard hump to get over. One night at Fuel, it was announced that we were going to the YAC. I'd heard of the YAC. It's a big conference in Gatlinburg, so I was kind of excited to go. Turned my money in, got on the bus, started heading up there, and I had no idea that that day was going to be the day that my life changed forever. After the first session at the YAC that year, we went back to the hotel and just kind of roaming around, and I seen my youth minister and a bunch of kids from my church sitting outside on the patio. Well, I go out there and sit with them, and we started talking, and they started asking me questions like, have you been saved? What kind of life are you living? And I told them. I mean, I was just honest with them, and my youth minister told me, Trey, you're going to hell. I said, I'm going to hell? I said, I got saved when I was little. He said, no, you didn't get saved when you were little. You wouldn't be living like this. I said, explain to me. He said, well, if you're sinning, you're not living a Christian life. You didn't understand when you were little that you were getting saved. You were scared, and I was scared. So we're sitting out on this patio, and that's the first time I'd ever really realized that, hey, I'm doing this terrible, terrible stuff. I'm just getting farther and farther away from God. I'm not living the way I'm supposed to live. And if it hadn't been for the YAC, if it hadn't been for that conversation, I'd probably still be doing this stuff. I never would have found God. I never would have got saved. After the YAC, I really started thinking that I need to get saved. But I didn't want to give up the stuff I was doing. I thought I was having fun. Thought I was doing just what every other teenage boy does. And I stopped going to Fuel. I wouldn't go to church at all. I still hung out with the guys I was going to church with. I sat with them at lunch every day. They'd ask me every day, are you coming to Fuel Wednesday? I'm busy. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And of course I was lying. I was sitting at home. And I was scared. I didn't want to give up the stuff that I was doing. But I eventually came back. I eventually started coming back to Fuel. I was back in Sundays. And then I finally decided that I got to do this. I got to get saved today. I got to get saved right now. It was on a Sunday morning. My pastor was preaching out of Revelation. After the sermon, he said, if you're not right with God, just come on up. We made eye contact, and I said, God told me to go on. I got to go. walked up front, started talking to my pastor. It's time for me to get saved. He said, good. He said, let's do this. We hit our knees on a pew. This time he said, you can repeat after me. You can say your own little prayer with God. Well, unlike when I was little, I said my own little prayer. I said, God, I don't want to do the stuff I'm doing. I don't want to sin like I'm sinning. I want you to make me feel bad for what I'm doing. I want you to hurt me with what hurts you. After getting saved, it was a total transformation. I went from trying to fill my life up with sex and football and drinking and all these different meaningless things, and now I was just filled up with God. And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", 310 pounds, and I was just filled up, just all the way. No empty cracks, no nothing. It was just, you just feel good. Yeah, I still slipped up. Yeah, I still did some bad things. But in the past where I just did these bad things and didn't feel bad, I felt terrible now. I couldn't get away from it. I mean, I did something bad, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, couldn't do anything. I mean, I went from everyday average teenager, sinning, sex, football, drinking, thought I was having fun, partying, to now I'm waking up every morning looking in the mirror thinking, how can I please God today? I mean, I'm after high school, I'm gonna go to college for a couple years. I'm going to seminary school. I've been called to preach. And that I wake up every day excited, hoping I can tell someone about God today. Just hoping I can bring the light that God has put on me and give it to somebody else. I'm Trey Pack. I was empty, and now I'm filled up.